Ladies and gentlemen, the Wrestling Fans Podcast proudly presents to you another impressive episode of 50 Minutes of Fandom. That's right. During this segment, we always take one, and we mean one fan that stands out from the rest of our fellow wrestling fans that is actually impressive, actually shows their fandom for professional wrestling through dedication and whatnot. So, with that being said, let's start with the introductions. In the first corner, we have the greatest thing on God's green earth. No, we're not talking about money, Mary Jane, or Popeye spinach. He is the tranquil dart of Ringside Society and Delaware's greatest American hero. It takes two to make a thing go right. He's Rob Bass, and you are not. And in the second quarter, we have that ocean crossing, straight up Boston, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always positive, life is great, 592, living in the 718, the time zone traveler, the worldwide starboy, Remy Blue. And our special guest tonight is a guy that we've been trying to get for the better part of a year, but he's been on the grind, so busy that we haven't really been successful to do so. But we're not gonna knock the hustle. We don't do that here at Ringside Society. But with that being said, he is actually one half of We Talk Next. That's right, a podcast that talks NXT. And crazily enough, the other half of that podcast is a woman that we know all too well. She's been on our show several times, Keita Hubbard. Everybody, welcome to the show, the moneymaker, Chris Durham.
Glad to be here, guys. Thank you so much for that great introduction. Appreciate you guys.
Hey, we appreciate you actually finally taking time, out of your busy schedule to be on our show. So we've been trying to make this happen. We could finally say we've done it now. We've had, I don't know if you know of her, but Queen J. We've had Queen J on here. We've had Keita Hubbard. We've had Jay Giles, and now we finally got you. Hopefully, the next time we can get all four of y'all here on, for a prediction show and whatnot, like we normally do. But I just gotta say, man, how's everything in your neck of the woods, man? Like where you at right now? If you don't mind us asking.
I'm in DC. No, not at all. I'm in DC right now. Everything's good on my end. No complaints at all. I'm just hanging in there, just taking things one day at a time. It's a lot of craziness going on right now with this whole pandemic and everything, but I'm just taking it one day at a time. Just keeping on grinding.
Man, you telling me, man. Oh, geez. This pandemic messed a lot of stuff up for everybody. I had plans for 2020. Yeah. I was gonna go to my second WrestleMania.
Yeah. A lot of us.
And then lo and behold, like I was gonna apply for the leave days, and then I already bought the ticket and everything to go to Tampa, mm-hmm. And I was gonna be like, okay, this is the time where I'm actually gonna go in person and market Ringside Society, like network with people and whatnot, get our name out mm-hmm. there, and then boom, next mm-hmm. thing you know, COVID strikes, and then. It's first it started in China, then it's in Japan. Next thing you know, it's over here in the US, starts in LA, and then all of a sudden, like within a matter of weeks, boom, it's taking over the whole mm-hmm. city, the whole country. Everything is on lockdown and so on. So yeah, man. But it's like I think Razor Ramon said it at his Hall of Fame induction. He said, "Tough times don't last, but tough people do." So you just got to keep your head up and just know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Washington, D.C., I used to live near that. I used to live in, I don't know if you're familiar with this place, Hyattsville, many years ago.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I used to live there many years ago, and I remember that it wasn't that far from D.C. Went to D.C. a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember like it was kind of a small town, but I was like, I remember that sometimes we go to New York and I'd be like, man, I don't want to go back to DC. I don't want to go back to Maryland, man. I don't want to go back to Heights. I want to go back to like New York, because I guess I was a city boy at heart and eventually moved to New York. So yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. So DC. So I take it you've been to. I don't know if you probably heard of them. So I think you've been to MCW a couple of times.
I
And
have. I've been there quite often for shows. I've been there for several shows. I've been going to MCW shows since at least 2016, I want to say.
nice, nice. Yeah, they've been around for a long time. Like I remember when I
They
was in
have.
my teen, I'd buy the wrestling magazines and read about, people like Joey Matthews, or who's known as Joey Mercury of Eminem, and you had Christian York, and you
Mhm.
had people like Cuba Carmichael, and you read about these people, and that was like '97, and then like now fast forward to like 2022 now, they're still around doing pretty much doing the damn thing and whatnot. So yeah, so I gotta ask you, man, how
Mhm.
did you become a fan of professional wrestling? Like, what was the pay-per-view or the match that you saw, or who was that uncle or aunt that pulled you in the room and said, "Hey, check this out. You might like this."
There wasn't a specific match or a specific pay per view. It was just the first time I saw The Undertaker, like in the late '90s, like around the time he debuted. Just seeing that entrance and everything, the lights go out, him coming out there with Paul Bearer, and I was like, wow, that guy's different. That guy's going to be a big time star. So just seeing The Undertaker really was the first thing that kind of got me into wrestling. Just that entrance and mystique and everything about him. That's one of the main things I probably would say that definitely got me into wrestling.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, Undertaker was definitely a presence, and I remember seeing him for the first time, and I was like, "This guy is huge, and he is going to be
Mm-hmm.
something to
Mm-hmm.
reckon with." And then,
Oh yeah,
I and it's funny because you've been watching wrestling for a long time. Rob, you've been watching it too. It's more, especially, and I'm going on 32 years of being a fan, and I've been watching WB
mm-hmm.
since 1990. And y'all can both agree that y'all both. I guess we can all agree here and say that Undertaker has been one of the few that have been able to reinvent themselves throughout the years.
Definitely. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no doubt
and
about
it's
that.
like, yeah, and the thing about him is he's never had to like, because you look at certain people like for example Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, you already know he's gonna come out and say, "Well, let me tell you something, brother. And I body slammed Andre the Giant, and what you're gonna do?" And I was like, "Bro, come on, yeah, act like that's the only thing that made you. That wasn't the only match that made you, you know." And then you look at certain people, other people, and they're like, you could tell that they just couldn't reinvent themselves, or their gimmick was like
Mm-hmm.
outdated or so on. But the Undertaker was able to pretty much keep the same gimmick and just, it pretty much just survived the times.
It definitely did. And as much as you talk about like the ministry and dark side stuff that he did, the American Badass character, I don't think that gets enough appreciation. I think that's honestly some of his best work. I honestly do. I think that's some of the best Taker stuff that we've seen over the years when he was the American Badass.
Yeah. So would it be safe to say that that was your favorite Undertaker version of the Undertaker throughout his whole career, or just one of them?
It's definitely up there. If I had to choose, I probably would say yes, it was because it showed a totally different side of him. You show a more human side of him, and that felt more authentic. It felt like that was really him instead of the ministry stuff, the dark side stuff that he's known for. So I would probably, if I had to choose, I probably would say yes. That probably is my favorite version of the Undertaker.
Yeah. Yeah. That was definitely a memorable version of him. And if I had to choose a favorite of mine, it'd probably be the one after, the one where after the American Badass, where the one where Kane betrayed him, I guess, and then he came back at WrestleMania 20 and he wrestled Kane, because
Mm-hmm.
to me you had a mixture of the American Badass and a mixture of the Undertaker of old for that time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that was
That was good
that
too.
was yeah, yeah. Man, I tell you, I wish Queen J were, because Queen J would have loved this conversation. She would have been, she's, I don't know if you know, but she's a huge Undertaker fan. Like, she can't stop talking about him and whatnot. So
Oh, nice. Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know her, but yeah, that's cool. That's awesome.
All right. So I gotta ask you. So you like you're a fan of the Undertaker. What about Kane, his brother? What did you think of him? Because we had a discussion yesterday where we were like, Kane was one of the ones that Matt Rob. Oh, we had. Oh yeah, it was our main guest, um, Raiden the Destroyer from the Nightmare Factory, and he mentioned Kane was one of his favorites, and he said he doesn't get his flowers, and I was like, you're right, because Kane pretty much came out the same way as the Undertaker, but he took a different route in a sense because he actually became he had a couple of comedy spots, like we mentioned him and Rob Van Dam being a tag team, and him telling Rob Van Dam chicks dig the mask, and then one time I think it was him that actually imitated Val Venus when he was known as Sean Morley, and he was doing the hello ladies or something like that, and he never lost a step, because when you have a character that's supposed to be fearful and scary, and then they do comedy spots, it's like they kind of lose that edge. So what was your thoughts on the Undertaker's brother Kane when he debuted?
I enjoyed Kane as well. I mean, I thought he had a very good debut, and he's another one that was able to really kind of reinvent himself, because we saw him with the mask, we saw him without the mask. Like you said, you saw him teaming up with RVD. I think he teamed up with Hurricane and X Pac, so you kind of seeing a different side of him. And then we saw corporate Kane there for a while, so he was another one that was able to keep his character fresh over the year. We saw different versions of him over the years, and he was very solid in the ring too. I don't think he I guess you could say he does get enough credit, but I don't think he gets as much credit as he truly deserves, because he was a very good, very versatile superstar. And he had a very long, solid career.
Yeah, he definitely did, and I'm glad he actually finally got into the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Man, I'd say 20.
Oh,
If I would say if you make it at least 10 years in WWE, you're doing something right. Because
yes.
we've all seen people come and go. Some people have only been able to do 5 years. Some people get 1 year. Some people get hired and they don't even get a chance to be on TV, if anything.
Hmm.
And to make it more than 10 years in WWE, that's definitely an achievement right there.
Definitely, for sure.
So did you ever get to meet Undertaker or Kane or any of the WWE superstars? Did you ever get to go any shows when growing up and or any of that?
I never met Kane or Undertaker. The first wrestling show I went to was a Raw back in 2000, like the summer of 2004, like right after I graduated high school. And that was one of the first things I did. I got money when I graduated. I said, Raw's coming to town, so I'm gonna go to a wrestling show. And it was a good show. I remember seeing Edge, Randy Orton. I think the main event that night was Edge versus Randy Orton for the Intercontinental title. That was like the main event that night, and it was a very good show. They taped Sunday Night Heat beforehand. I think Victoria and Jazz had a match on Sunday Night Heat, and it was just a good experience, just getting to go see it in person, because watching it on TV for all those years, but actually getting to be there live and be in the crowd and everything was a great experience. But as far as meeting wrestlers, probably more recently, like when I started going to MCW shows, that's when I started like actually meeting wrestlers. Like the first wrestler I met Angelina Love at MCW in 2016. I've met who else have I met? I've met Shawn Michaels at MCW back in 2017. I've met Rosemary. She was really cool. I've met her. I recently, last year, I met Velvet Sky. She was nice. She was awesome. I've met Neil Dashwood. She was cool. And who else have I met? Those are the main ones. Oh, Kurt Angle. I met Kurt Angle. I'm back in like right before the pandemic. At an MCW show that February. I met Kurt Angle. So I met him too. So I've met quite a few superstars over the years and attended quite a few events. Raw, SmackDowns. I was at the first AEW show. The first AEW show was here in DC. I attended that. So I've got the experience, in person wrestling, but it was MCW, AEW, WWE, meeting superstars. So I've had pretty good experience over the years, like meeting people and going to shows.
Yeah, MCW. I would like to actually attend one of those. So there's actually four promotions that I want to attend. Hopefully in the very near future. Well, I guess as Rob calls it, the Delmarva area, the DC, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia area, and
Mm-hmm.
one of them is actually MCW because they've been around for a long time, and they've given us a
Mm-hmm.
lot of today's stars. I mean, you got people like Renee Michelle that were there, who's
Mm-hmm.
appeared
I've met her
frequently
too,
on
actually.
AEW, NWA, yeah. And then there's also ECWA, which is Rob. ECWA is in Delaware, right?
I think they're based in. They have shows in Delaware, but I think they're actually based in like Philly or Bethlehem, somewhere around there.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to check out there. I thought they were, for some reason they were like Maryland or somewhere, but definitely would
I
want to
think
check out.
the old owner was. I think the old owner was in Newark, but the new one's in yeah, Pennsylvania or whatever now.
Okay, yeah, I definitely want to check out. More specifically, I want to check out their Super 8 tournament, which is something I feel that all fans on this side of the country should definitely attend. Definitely a Super 8 tournament because they've given us a lot of people like Tommaso Ciampa, Xavier Woods, etc., etc. And the other two I want to attend are the two that Rob here actually works at, one CW and CCW. If you're into women's wrestling and like hardcore, CCW is definitely it. They're actually based in Delaware and they're the sister promotion of one CW. So, hopefully one day I'll definitely get to make it there. But Rob, so you're a fan of the Undertaker. Rob here has a story he's gonna tell you. The
Okay.
Undertaker story. Rob, go ahead and tell the Undertaker story, man. It always gets me.
All right, so back in the day, WWE had a house show here in Delaware. It was like I can't remember the exact years, like 93, 94, 95, whatever year it was. It was when Bret Hart and Bob Backlund were fighting over the belt, whenever that was. So one of the matches there was Undertaker versus Diesel in a casket match. So they had the match. Undertaker won, and after the match, all of us kids we were like, "Yo, let's go outside, run around the parking lot. Let's try to go meet the Undertaker and see if we can see him." And we're like, "Yeah." So we left. We went around there. We're waiting for him to come out. He finally comes out with Paul Bearer and stuff. When they come out, they weren't like had lightning coming from them or anything. They're back there arguing over who had the last of the vodka. It was like, I didn't have it. You're the one that had it. Oh, it was great, man. We're just like, really? That's why he feels no pain. That's why. So from then on, I was like, that's why he feels no pain.
Yeah, that would.
Good one. I
Wow,
like that.
that would have been something.
Oh, I can
But yeah,
imagine.
yeah. So I just got like two more questions before I turn it over to Rob. And my second last question. So you're the co-host of you're a fellow podcaster like us as well. And
Mm-hmm.
we like to say that we actually kick open that there was never a forbidden door for us because we've from jump been collaborating with many other people.
Mm-hmm.
Frequently Queen Jay and is one of them. And you're the one half of We Talk Next. Tell us about that podcast. How'd y'all come together and what can fans expect to hear when they tune in?
What fans can expect to hear is the main focus of the show is recap NXT. I mean, sometimes we'll talk AEW, we'll talk some other promotion, but the main focus of the show is to recap all things that's going on in the world of NXT. And started like back in 2016 when I first met Keita. They were doing their podcast, Keita and Jay show, and then they're also doing at the time it was We Talk NXT podcast, and they were on there. And for the longest time, they told me they never really had guests on that show. It was just Keita and Jay just doing the show, and then they had like a contest going on. I think it was predictions or something like that. Anyway, they had a contest going on, and I won the contest, and the prize was to host an episode of the show. So I got to host the episode of the We Talk NXT podcast. That was cool. That was the first time actually getting to host a podcast, so that was really cool. And then they would have me like come on periodically, like if Jay needed to take some time off, if Kid needed to take some time off, we'll kind of fill in for them and kind of make guest appearances on the show. And then I think that the following year they said, "Hey, do you want to be a part of the show?" So it was all three of us, me, Keita, and Jay, all doing the show. And then Jay kind of, he had some other projects and stuff going on, so he kind of stepped back a little bit and said, "Do you want to, take over my spot?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" So it was just me and Keita holding it down the past few years on the show, and it's been a great experience. We've got a lot of guests on there, and it's been a whole lot of fun getting to recap, because you don't see a lot of. I mean, that's one of the main things. You don't see a lot of people that just have a podcast that's solely just focused on NXT, because at the time, NXT was at its peak. The black and gold brand, everything, with Finn Balor, Undisputed Era, all the people in NXT. Not a lot of people were like focusing mainly on that. So that's one of the cool things I thought that stood out about that podcast. And it's been a blast. I'm really really enjoying being a part of the show and getting to talk NXT on a regular basis.
Yeah, that's cool because yeah, you're right. I always tell people, when people ask, I had somebody ask me the other day, like, what advice would you give for a podcast? They didn't ask me specifically. It was just a general question to the public, and I straight up told them, like, look for something that nobody else is doing and just do it. Like, I mean, just try to stand out, because give people a reason to actually listen to your podcast. And that's what I do with, that's what we do here at Ringside Society. So in case somebody were to come and say, well, there's this podcast and that podcast, why should I listen to yours? Well, we have we have guests, we have wrestlers. Yeah, but this other person does. We have referees. Yeah, but this other person does. We have managers. Yeah, but okay. We have the people that announce the shows. We have the people that the promoters themselves on our shows. Oh, okay. We also have the people that make the gear. Oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting. We also have the people that make the entrance themes. Oh, wow. Okay. I've never seen that before. We also have a segment where we interview fans like yourself. You want to be on our show? Let me know. That's how. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like cocky or anything, or like I'm cloud chasing, but that's pretty much, we wanted to give the listeners, stories from each angle of the industry. So that's pretty much our way of being different from any. And we're not trying to knock any other podcasts. I mean, we got love for the other people that do their thing on podcasting or so on, but we just try to stand out as that podcast, that one of those podcasts that people should listen to, or at least give a chance. Yeah, but
Absolutely. I like
think, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, man.
No, I'm good. I'm just absolutely. I said I agree with you. That's very good. Just being able to stand out in the, because so many people doing podcasting these days. So being able to stand out and have something that's different to the listeners is awesome.
Yeah. So I gotta ask you. I'm not trying to put you on the spot or your podcast on the spot. Me personally, I like NXT 2.0. It's a bit different, but I see nothing wrong with it. I think in my opinion, the only thing I think wrong with WWE is Raw. They need to do something about Raw. SmackDown is great. NXT 2.0 is great. Heck, NXT UK is enjoyable too. It's just Raw is a chore to watch. But what do you think about NXT and the direction it's going? Do you think it's for the better or for the worse, or do you think it's going to be like the same thing, just a whole new crew led by a whole new team of producers?
I mean, I had my doubts in the beginning because of all the brands in WWE. NXT was the last one that needed to be like rebranded. Everything they were doing down there was solid. They really didn't need to make any like drastic changes. But at the same time, the NXT 2.0, you had a lot of people complain, a lot of fans like, "Oh, it's going to be so bad. It's so awful. I'm not going to watch this." And you just got to give it time. They just kind of kind of going back to their roots, so to speak. Because if you remember, like the early days of NXT, you didn't see a lot of the mainstream names or like some of the indie darlings down there. You saw a lot of the new faces that were down there that were trying to establish new stars and new names and everything down there. And then you had a mix of the veterans down there. You had like Tyson Kidd down there. You had Natty and different ones, Alicia Fox. You had people going down there from the main roster to kind of help get some of the talent over and everything. But it seems like that's what they're kind of doing right now, because you see AJ Styles down there, you see Riddle down there, and I think we're going to see more of that moving forward. You're going to see a healthy balance of the new up and coming stars like the Braun Breakers and such, mixed in with some of the veterans. You probably still see Ciampa down there. You probably see some other people from the main roster come down there. So we just have to be patient as fans and just give it a chance, because I'm enjoying it as well. It's different, kind of getting used to some of the new names down there. You're used to certain people down there, so it's just in a big adjustment period. We just have to be patient as fans, because there's some talent down there. There's some definitely people down there I like, and I see star potential with like Grayson Waller. I'm loving what he's doing right now. The stuff with AJ, this whole heel run with him, he's gonna be a big star for them down there. So it's just gotta give us some time. I'm gonna be curious to see where they are a year from now, 2 years from now, as far as they continuing to get some new names and stuff down there. But I'm liking the direction they're going. We just got to be patient with it. Just give it some time.
Yeah, that's the same mindset I have right now. I'm like, it's different, but I'm gonna trust that Vince and I guess Bruce. I think Bruce Pritchard's the other one that's leading the charge on this. I'm gonna trust that they know what they're doing, and I'm just gonna sit back and watch. And sometimes I've learned that with Vince and the gag, sometimes that's all you need to do. You just gotta sit back and give it time and watch. You can't expect everything to happen overnight. You can't expect it to be an overnight sensation. I mean, that's it. It overnight sensations do happen, but it's rare. It's like once in a blue moon. But with with what Vince is doing, I'm just gonna sit back and I'm just gonna watch where it's going. And then, quite frankly, I've enjoyed it. I've had no problem with it. I like that they have Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams and Grayson Waller. Although I wish they would hire Grayson Waller's. I hope they do. They give him a look real soon. His tag team partner in Australia, Carter Deems, because they were part of a stable called the Babes with another woman. I think. Yeah, Hardy. And the funny thing is, it wouldn't surprise me if Vince hired Carter, because Carter Deems is taller than Grayson Waller, and he's trained and I think he trained at the New Japan dojo. So, Vince likes his guys in WWE to be big, and tall. So I think it wouldn't surprise me if he hired him eventually. And they had Hardy Wonder, who is kind of like Piper Niven or Dewdrop. I don't know where they came up with that name, but she's kind of like Dewdrop, but also very talented. So I really wish they would actually hire those two. He would actually hire those two as well, because I could definitely see Grayson looks like the kind of guy he would need a stable built around him, and I hope that they actually end up doing that soon. But he's definitely impressive, and I just like you got who's I forgot. Rob, I always forget his guy's name. To the moon.
Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes.
Grimes.
I always forget the man's name. Cameron Grimes. Yeah, you got him with his charisma is like sky high right now. I'm enjoying it. I mean, the NXT, the New Year's Evil was great. I mean, I'm just waiting to see where this goes, and I'm not against it. And the thing that gets me is that people say that. I think it is too. I think it's because that people are kind of like looking at the fact that Vince hires collegiate athletes to be professional wrestlers, but at the same time, I mean, wasn't Moose a football player? Moose was a former NFL player, and he went through the indies, and nobody gave him slack about it. So I think it's the fact that there's this unofficial. That's just my theory. That there's this. The reason why some fans are upset is because these people haven't really paid their dues on the indies. That's the vibe that they get, because they didn't spend 5-10 years on the indies. They shouldn't be in the spot where they're in. But I mean, if you were a collegiate athlete, Rob, if you were a collegiate athlete, if I was one, and Vince said, and you were a wrestling fan, but for some reason, you didn't really want to go to the wrestling schools in the indies because you're busy with your collegiate career, and Vince gave you an opportunity, wouldn't you take it? I mean, I would.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Rob. I know Rob has some questions for you. So Rob, go ahead, man. The floor is yours.
All right, sweet. Thanks, Rebby. So what's going on, Chris, man? How's everything going your way?
I'm good, man. Glad to be here, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Just trying to get through this getting ready for this cold weather coming up this weekend. Man, I heard the high is gonna be like 23 on Saturday, and I'm like, oh man, this is some BS. I hate the cold. I need to migrate to like Arizona or something like that, man. Like somewhere like warm. It's like you got good all year round. I'm like, all right.
There you go.
See, I do Florida, but man, I see too many of them Florida man, stories, and then they got swamp monsters
exactly.
and sinkholes, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know, man. Florida, I don't know. Maybe I could stay a little north, like where our other co-host Kathy is. Louisiana, Georgia, Mississippi.
There you go.
Be somewhere over there, man.
There you go.
So, yeah, you're talking about MCW and stuff, man. MCW, I love them. They were actually the first promotion I went to when I got my driver's license, and that was back in like 96, 97. Like when I was allowed to drive by myself, the first thing I did was got tickets to go see a wrestling shows in Maryland. So my brother, he was like 10 years old at the time. We're like, let's go. and we went, had a blast. I remember Mosh from the Headbangers was the champ at the time over there.
Cool.
So it was great. Oh yeah, that's right. So I do want to ask, man, you were talking about Undertaker, though. Your favorite was the American Badass. Now, what were your favorite? Do you have any off the top of your head? Can you like think of any of your favorite matches from his at that time?
I mean, obviously the ladder match on Raw with Jeff Hardy, that was a very good one. That stood out, definitely. Oh my God, other matches with him
or moments, you know what I mean?
The whole thing where when he was feuding with Ric Flair and he beat up his son, he was like, what am I doing? What you doing? I'm kicking your ass. What you think I'm doing? That was some good stuff too. Oh my God. Feud with Triple H was pretty good. That was a good one. I mean, just off the top of my head, yeah, those are the main things that stick out to me. I mean, that was just a good period for him. It really was. I mean, like I say, it was just a different side of him, a different side of the Undertaker that we weren't used to seeing. Him coming out there on the bike and the big evil and everything. It was just a good side of him. I enjoyed it. Him teaming with Kane, and Kane, the Brothers of Destruction. I think they were tag team champions during that time period too. That was some good stuff as well. So yeah, he had a lot of good moments during that time period.
Oh yeah. Remember when Kane first come out? He was just a monster. He would just like randomly show up in a match, tear the people up, whoever was in there, just beat up the workers and then leave, and then he might come back out later on or not. It's like, oh man,
good stuff, man.
Oh yeah, I missed that. Man, they need to do something with that, man. They need to get Omos to do that or something, man. Just have him
that would be good for him.
Something.
It would be. That'd be a good thing to get him over. Absolutely.
Because I think I was watching it. I think it was this past Monday. I was watching it. He was feuding with Reggie or something. I didn't know if they had a match or whatever. Or they were going to build a match. I was like, oh man, let's just have him go out and dominate real quick, man. I just want to see Omos dominate.
Yeah, because he's got the look. He's got the potential to be a big star for them. Because you don't see many guys that size nowadays. So he's definitely got star potential if they use him correctly.
Yeah, I can't imagine seeing him in person because I remember seeing the Big Show in person at a show. Like he was, my buddy and I got right up on the ramp. We were, when the wrestlers theme music hit, all the kids, ran up to the entranceway. Like, and then you see two like grown adults, making their way with the kids. And my buddy and I, we're over there. But the Big Show walked by, and he was probably like one of the biggest humans I've ever seen. He fought Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, yeah.
I can't imagine Omos. And Omos is bigger than Big Show too. I'm like, woo, man. Yeah, man. So, like, when we were talking about Undertaker, man, my favorite iteration of his was the Ministry of Darkness one, because that was he was going all crazy at that time, and plus it was when we got to see Undertaker start doing like he can actually wrestle, Before then, like when he was just the dead man, he just go out there, punch, kick, clothesline, old
Mm-hmm.
school tombstone. That's it. Sit up. Yeah. And then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
then we got the mask. He was feuding with Bret Hart for the belt. It's like, all right, yeah, he can actually wrestle. All right. And then yeah, and then he just went full into that satanic gimmick. I was like, all right, that's fine. All right, Taker.
There you go.
So I gotta ask you, man. Now, Undertaker's not around no more. Who are your favorite wrestlers you like to root for nowadays?
Wow, I got so many. Still love AJ Styles. Still love seeing AJ Styles work. He's still one of the best workers, I feel. I love Adam Cole. Love what he's doing. I love Britt Baker. NWA, I love Camille. I love the Hex and Allison Kay and Marty Bell. Like I said, I love Grayson Waller. I see big potential with him. I love Shotzi Blackheart. I love Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of different people out there that I like. But yeah, those are definitely some of my favorites. Orange Cassidy. I wasn't a huge fan of him at first. I didn't get the whole gimmick at first, but he's definitely grown on me. I like him as well. So yeah, those are some of my favorites. Of course, CM Punk. Love seeing CM Punk back. Anytime he's on my TV, I'm definitely watching. So I love CM Punk. Yeah, I got a lot of people. It's hard to pick just one. I got a variety of people I like for a variety of different reasons.
Now, did you see Britt Baker? She got Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I think it was Match of the Year. Her and Thunder Rosa for that
Yeah,
match.
but
I think it was
she got Match of the
yeah.
Year. I think Women Wrestler of the Year. She got like 3 different ones. I think.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see the other two. I just knew of the one. I just seen the one.
Yeah, I knew
The
that
one
one. I
posted on
think
there.
You got the Match of the Year. I think she was Woman Wrestler of the Year. And I forgot what the other one was, but I think she got 3.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, she's definitely tearing it up this year, man. She was doing her
She
thing.
is. She's come a long way from when we first saw her to now. So just the confidence and everything with her. I love her. She's definitely one of my favorites. Love her.
Hmm. Now I was watching NXT. I think it was this past one. Who's the what's the girl's name that wrestles in the pajamas? She was out there in the onesie tearing it up,
Oh
man. I
yeah,
forget her name.
Winnie.
Wendy
I think her
Chu.
name's Winnie Who or Winnie Chow or something like
Yeah,
Wendy
that.
Chu.
Yes, yeah.
yeah. I was watching. I was like, okay, yeah. What's her gimmick? She like to sleep anywhere or something, or do whatever, man. I was like, all right, this is pretty cool. I got to watch her. I'm gonna keep an eye on her.
But you know who she was, right? You know who she used to be. You know who she was, right?
Wasn't she with Xia Li and stuff?
Yeah, Mei Ying. Yeah, she was the Mei Ying character,
Yeah.
the one that was in the chair. Yeah.
I knew who she was before that, and I can tell y'all right now, homegirl got skills, and
That's what
not
I've
just
heard.
like so. I don't mean to cut you, Rob, but I saw
Oh no, you're good.
her at her so several years ago. There was the Tough Enough tryouts things that they were doing,
Hmm.
and they actually had they actually had one of them that stood out to me was hers, and she's actually a gymnast. My own cousin actually used to train with her in gymnastics. Homegirl is legit. So if y'all are probably we're probably gonna see some high flying stuff from her real soon, and yeah, it's gonna be real.
Nice.
Oh yeah, she was out there doing the thing in a onesie. I was like, yeah.
I
All
know
right, yeah,
that's.
that's what's up.
I knew that's what was going to happen because we see her like off and on, throughout the course of the week. She was kind of all, in her pajamas and kind of doing this sleepy stuff, and then she gets out there and she's, a badass in the ring. I love it. Love it.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. So, man, the Rumble's coming up, man. Do you have any, maybe surprises for the Rumble? I know that I do know they have Johnny Knoxville. He's going to be in the Rumble. You know what I mean? But other than that, do you have any, anything, anybody you think might show up or for either men's or women's?
I've heard that Melina could be in the Royal Rumble. That would be a nice surprise. With this whole for quote unquote forbidden door with the WWE because we getting Mickey James, Knockouts champion over there. It wouldn't be surprised if we saw somebody else from Impact, either on the men's or the women's side. We got Moose on Twitter talking about he'd show up, and challenge Roman Reigns. It wouldn't be surprised if we saw somebody like that show up. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I think we definitely gonna get some surprises. It wouldn't shock me if we saw somebody from Impact, or somebody else from Impact Wrestling show up. And as far as predictions goes, for the men, I got AJ Styles winning, and for the women, I think Liv Morgan is gonna win. Those would be my two
Ooh,
Rumble
okay.
predictions.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I haven't looked at the roster, made a pick yet, or anything yet. But yeah, I'm gonna have to do that soon. We do our prediction shows,
Mm-hmm.
man.
Yeah, I mean
I
AJ
am
Styles,
curious
he's
though.
done.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
AJ Styles, I mean he's done. He made his debut at the Royal Rumble. He's done just about everything in WWE. So why not have him, win the Royal Rumble? So that's why I'm going with him for the men's side. And Liv is just her
That's
time.
right.
She's got to do something. She's so over with the crowd. You got to give her moment.
That's right. Now I am curious though. I want to know what Johnny Knoxville does, man, because I want to know if he's gonna
Oh
be
yeah.
like Drew Carey, go in there and be like, oh yeah, here's some money or something, or is he gonna actually go in there and get tore up? Because I've watched Johnny Knoxville in them movies and them shows, man, like beat himself up legitly, like man, somebody can do it. It's Johnny Knoxville, what I mean? They don't call it jackass for nothing.
No, I can see him doing some type of crazy spot, taking some type of crazy bump. I could definitely see him, doing some stuff in there. He's not just gonna go in there and just, get eliminated right away. He's gonna do something crazy. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah. I don't know if it'll be as bad as when Steve-O and Party Boy came on there with Umaga, when Umaga, when he
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
hopefully not.
Steve-O, he wouldn't stay down, he kept getting up and pissing Umaga off. He's like, nah, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it'll be that bad, but yeah, I think it'll be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So I do gotta ask, man, have you seen any of the new show Peacemaker yet? I think it came out today or yesterday with John Cena.
I haven't had a chance to. I think it came out today, but I've been hearing good things about it. A lot of people have been saying it's supposed to be really, really good. I definitely have to check that out, put that on my list of things to do. So, like I say, John Cena's killing it right now. He's really making a name for himself
Oh yeah.
in Hollywood right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Before the show started, I was like killing time, and I was like, let me check out the first 5-10 minutes of it, and I was laughing and all, and I was like, oh man, I gotta do this show. Let me turn this off right now, because I
Nice.
cannot do two things at once. This show, it was pretty good. It was pretty good, man. I was like, all right, yeah, I gotta definitely watch it after when we get
Cool.
done. But
Cool.
Cena, he's doing the thing, man. He's gonna be like the next Rock, man. He's gonna be up there. He's gonna do his yeah.
Oh, definitely. And I think
That's
Sasha
right.
Banks is heading that way too.
Oh yeah. Now I kind of want to see what Bray Wyatt does, because I think he could do something too, man. He could some horror type stuff, get on Netflix, do a Netflix type movie,
Oh,
something like
definitely.
that, man. I can see Bray Wyatt doing that, man.
Absolutely. He has a very creative mind. I can definitely see him doing some horror films or doing something, like I say, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. I can definitely see him doing some stuff. He's got a lot of
That's right.
potential too. The
That's
crossover.
right. That's right. So coming up on the year, man, do you have any future plans, attending any shows, out your way, or maybe any of the big four WrestleMania or something?
AEW is actually coming to town next week for Dynamite and Rampage. I'm
Oh,
thinking about that. Also, too, next month you got Baltimore Celeb Fest. This is Baltimore Celeb Fest 3. It's coming to town. Because they're kind of collabing with MCW. I went to the show back in October, Baltimore Celeb Fest 2. But they're coming back in February. Adam Cole's gonna be there, Amber Moon, Scarlett, Karrion Cross, or Killer Cross, whatever you want to call him. There's a lot of people who are gonna be showing up at that show. So I'm thinking about that. And I'm sure we'll probably get some, WWE always comes here at least a few times a year. So maybe another Raw or SmackDown. So I'm definitely keeping my eye out on upcoming wrestling. That's the main couple of things coming up. AEW and Baltimore Celeb Fest with MCW coming up next couple of this week and next month, I should say.
yeah, I didn't know AEW was gonna be in DC next week, man. I want to check that
Yeah,
out.
for
I want to see if my buddy can
Dynamite
roll
and
with me.
Rampage. They're having two separate shows. One Wednesday they're gonna tape Dynamite, and Friday they're taping Rampage.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to look see what tickets are, man. See my one buddy can come, man, because I hate driving over that Bay Bridge by myself, man. You know what I mean? I need somebody to talk to going over that thing, man.
There you go.
That's right. So, yeah, man. Before I pass it on back to Remy, man, I want to say, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on chat with us. I wish you
No
nothing but
problem.
the positive things that happen to you, your family. I hope your podcast, blows up, man. You start getting all them viewers, listeners, all that good stuff. And yeah, I wish nothing but the good things happen to you and all that going forward.
Appreciate you, man. Right back at you. That means a lot, man. Thank you.
Yeah, Chris, thanks a lot for, taking time out of your busy schedule to be here on our show. We really and truly appreciate it, and we wish you nothing but the best. And, we definitely, I'll tell you this, don't go too far, because we're definitely gonna be looking to have you, Keita, Queen J, and Jay Giles on our show for one of our prediction shows. So, don't go too far because we'll be looking to have y'all back on to join us for that as well. If you know,
Absolutely,
if
I'd
you
love
have-
that. Absolutely.
yeah. So, but yeah, man, hey, just keep up the good work with We Talk Next. You know, definitely, I'm definitely gonna check it out. Because NXT is pretty much doing the damn thing, and I enjoy it, even though most people don't. But like I said, I'm just waiting to see what they do with it, and I'm satisfied with it so far. So, with that being said, before we shut down the show, where can fellow fans find you on social media when they want to check out your show, talk wrestling, and all that good stuff?
Oh yeah, just follow me on Twitter at Moneymaker Chris. Follow me there. Also Instagram DC Sports Fan 23. Also at the Moneymaker 315, and my website that links to like all my podcast, blog, and everything that I do are the cashinexperience.com. So definitely check that out. You can find anything that I have going on either on my website or on my social media platforms. So just follow me there and you'll get links to the podcast, anything that I have going on.
Awesome. So y'all definitely heard. Go ahead and follow this man. Check out the podcast. We're not gonna get jealous. You can still check us out too. But check out his podcast, especially if you're an NXT fan. Check them out because they actually do a recap on that as well too. I always say, man. I mean, I listen to different podcasts too, so we're not gonna feel no way about it. We've been on different podcasts. I mean, Raul's been on several. I've been on several. Our other co-host, Kathy, who couldn't be here tonight, has been on several. It's like eating cereal, I mean, one morning you wake up, you want some cinnamon toast crunch. Next morning you want some Cocoa Puffs. Maybe down the road in Halloween you want some Frankenberry and Blueberry and Count Chocula. So definitely enjoy them all, man, because different podcasts have different styles and different opinions, and it's always good to hear different opinions on certain things. I mean, you don't have to agree with them, but sometimes it's good to hear them. So definitely check out We Talk Next and what they're doing as well. And with that being said, it's about time for us to shut this show down. Rob Bass, the Mel Gibson to my Danny Glover, the Bubba Ray to my Devon, the Charlie Haas to my Shelton Benjamin. Where can fans find you on social media when they want to find out when your next appearance is, talk wrestling, purchase Rob Bass merchandise? Yes, folks, he's a referee for 1CW. And speaking of that, where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows as well?
All right, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at Rob_Base82 and YouTube, Facebook, Rob Base.
And just a heads up, sometimes people work for a hot dog and a handshake, but if you give Rob a fist bump and some tacos, he'll definitely give you the Nick Patrick special. So just give me a heads up there, promoters. But with that being said, if you want to find me on social media, you can find me on Twitter at the Remy Blue. You can also find me on Facebook under the alias Remy Blue. And our podcast is also on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Ringside Society. We're on Twitch at Ringside Society 2019. We also have a Facebook group under the name Ringside Society. And we are also on Spotify. We're still working on getting some more of season 3's episodes up there. And we're also on YouTube, which is one of our streams that we stream on. So definitely go ahead and check us out. Go to YouTube. Once you type in Ringside Society, you see that sweet OMG dark blue and light blue yin yang sign with the blue flames around it. That's when you know it's us. Subscribe to all our videos because we got a lot of cool stuff coming. And check out our past videos, like this interview with Chris Durham, like the one we had before with Anaida Gonzalez. We've had 2 impressive guests so far. Raiden the Destroyer, who was the first ever Canadian trained at the Nightmare Factory and also a former Lance Storm Academy pupil. And we also had Earl Hebner's daughter. That's right, legendary referee Earl Hebner, who was part of the Montreal Screwjob, and also the angle where he was the evil twin in the Hulk Hogan versus Ted DiBiase match. His daughter was on our show. So definitely check those out. And we have a lot more impressive stuff coming as well. But with that being said, we just want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight live. We really and truly appreciate it. We don't claim to be the best. We just claim to try hard. And we appreciate you giving us this chance just to check out what we're doing. So those of y'all that are going to listen to us later on, thank you very much in advance. And those y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we would just go away, shut up, and take our merch with us. Well, like myself at the Golden Corral and Rob Bass at the Taco Festival, we're not going anywhere for a while.
They hate us because they ain't us.
We ain't stopping. You think they get it by now? It's season 4. Come on. Well, with that being said, we just want to thank everybody we just want to let everybody know that we here at Ringside Society are very well aware that everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. Well, not your grandparents' podcast. Definitely not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. Hey, yo, Rob Bass, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for one half of We Talk Next, the money maker, Chris Durham.
Woo!
What type of podcast are we?
We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast.
That's right, we're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. And with that being said, we just want to let everybody know that we're still going through a pandemic. So until it's over, stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
See y'all. Good night.
Jeez,
Stay
thanks for
classy,
having me.
Delaware.